1916, South Georgia Island. Three men are walking across a mountain range no human being has ever crossed. They have no map, no rope long enough, no food left. For 36 hours, they don't stop moving, because stopping means freezing to death where they stand. And somewhere in those 36 hours, they stop being three. Each one of them, separately, without telling the others, starts to feel it. A presence, walking just behind their shoulder, not speaking, not visible, but absolutely unmistakably there. When they finally reach safety, one of the men turns to the expedition leader and says something that will haunt polar science for the next 100 years. "Boss, I had a curious feeling on the march that there was another person with us." The leader says nothing, because he felt it too. This is the third man syndrome, and it doesn't just happen to explorers. It happens on sinking ships, in collapsing buildings, on the sides of mountains, in the dark, when the body has nothing left to give. And the strangest part isn't that people imagine it. It's that scientists can now switch it on. The man who said those words was part of Ernest Shackleton's endurance expedition, one of the most catastrophic survival stories in history. Their ship had been crushed by pack ice nearly 2 years earlier. After months adrift, Shackleton and two crewmates rowed an open boat 800 miles across the most violent ocean on Earth, just to reach South Georgia, and then still had to cross the island's unmapped, glacier-covered spine on foot to reach a whaling station on the other side. They hadn't slept properly in days. They were half-starved, frostbitten, and dehydrated. And it was under those exact conditions, total physical collapse, that all three men independently felt a fourth companion walking with them. None of them mentioned it during the crossing. They only compared notes afterward and realized they'd each felt the same thing, at the same time, in the same place. Shackleton's account later inspired T.S. Eliot to write about it in The Wasteland. The poem literally asks, "Who is the third who walks always beside you?" But here's the part that made scientists sit up. This wasn't an isolated case. Once researchers started looking, they found the exact same experience showing up again and again, in situations that had nothing to do with each other. A solo sailor crossing the Atlantic in the 1890s wrote that a phantom helmsman took the wheel of his boat during a storm and guided it safely through, then vanished. Climbers stranded near the summit of Everest, oxygen-deprived and hypothermic, have reported an unseen companion counting their steps for them, keeping them moving when their own minds had given up. And on September 11, 2001, survivors escaping the collapsing towers described something almost identical, a calm, silent presence walking beside them through the smoke and debris, seeming to steer them toward exits they couldn't see. Different centuries, different continents, different disasters, same exact experience. An invisible figure that gives comfort, sometimes even physical guidance, and disappears completely the moment the danger is over. Journalist John Geiger collected hundreds of these accounts and gave the phenomenon its name, the third man factor. And the pattern was so consistent that it stopped looking like coincidence and started looking like a switch buried somewhere in the human brain. So what actually causes it? Neuroscientists point to a small region of the brain called the temporoparietal junction, the part responsible for stitching together your senses so you feel like a single, unified person located in one place. It's the part of you that knows where you end and the rest of the world begins. Under extreme stress, extreme cold, oxygen deprivation, exhaustion, fear, that region can misfire. And when it does, it can produce the sensation of a second body, a second presence, standing just outside your own. In fact, researcher Michael Persinger was able to artificially trigger this exact sensation in a lab, using weak magnetic fields aimed at the temporoparietal junction. Volunteers with no history of hallucinations reported feeling an unseen someone standing behind them or beside them in the room, a presence with no face, no voice, but an unmistakable feeling of being there. In other words, this isn't a ghost. It isn't a guardian angel clocking in for overtime. It's your own brain, under catastrophic stress, generating a companion out of raw survival wiring, possibly as a way to keep you calm, keep you moving, and keep you from giving up when your body is telling you to stop. Some researchers think this isn't a malfunction at all. It might be a feature. Isolation itself is dangerous. A mind that believes it's utterly alone, with no help coming, is a mind that can panic, freeze, or simply stop trying. A brain that manufactures a companion, even a fake one, might be running an emergency protocol. Convince the body it isn't alone, so it keeps moving towards safety instead of shutting down. Which means the third man isn't a symptom of your mind breaking. It might be the single most sophisticated survival tool built into it, one that only switches on when you're closer to death than you've ever been. So the next time someone tells you they felt a presence guiding them through the worst night of their life, a mountain, a fire, a flood, a moment they should not have survived, maybe Don't ask whether it was real. Ask what it means that the human brain, at the very edge of extinction, chooses not to leave you alone. If this is the kind of mystery that keeps your brain awake at 2 a.m., subscribe, because next week we're going somewhere even stranger.